Good afternoon to the viewers in the chat and the people watching afterwards on this Sunday afternoon. Welcome to the Crypto Cringe Show. The Crypto Cringe. I think that's going to be the name of the stream. Welcome to the Crypto Cringe. No, I'm just kidding. We got Dominic Mysterio, So Fishy, Matthew Dropco, Richard Desmond, Wreckful, Kemola, K Milo, Nick Lou, Wreckful again, Bear. Yeah, let's run a poll. Let's see how the chat feels today. Derek 4, Luke Strat, Gunga Galunga, Ian Wallace, welcome. There's a little bit to talk about, nothing really. I mean, we've been the same price now for 2 months, but there's a little bit to talk about. Let's see how many people we can get before we start. Let's see if we can get to 50 people before we begin. How you guys doing today on this Sunday afternoon? We got Road Life, Derek 4 in the driver's seat. Just had my first heavy leg day after tearing my quad. Wow. Crypto Andrew is in the building. Remy is in the chat. WikiCat. Is this still going after all this time? No way. It doesn't even exist. Wow. Dude, this thing's not even in a bear market. Holy crud. Look at that. This thing's bull market started in October and it's still... Look at that. Yeah, I'll say this bear market's definitely not like the other ones. They all seem to be a little bit different, but this one is the most different. The old coins really didn't go down that much. But I guess at the same time, it's because we live on the log scale. That's the problem. Because to say that this didn't go down when it fell by 89%, you know, I guess I'm comparing it to the bull market where it did the same thing. That's why it's so bizarre. But it's a weird bear market for sure because the old coins on Dex Screener are just going all over the place. But that's what they did in the bull market too. So it's just odd. Just odd. What's up, Sunny? Moonbound is in the chat. Vegas Claw. Floki XRP BNB is what my AI said. I don't know if Floki's gonna come back. Did they put Floki on Robinhood? Yeah, I don't know if Floki's the best option. I mean, it retraced the entire bull market. I don't know if that's necessarily the best option, you know. Which is nuts. I mean, you could have held it for 2 months and actually you could have held it for 1 month. And it took 2 years to get back to that price. That's unbelievable. 2 years it took to undo 1 month of a pump. The green color's hurting my eyes. Yeah, that means we need to go outside more, man. I don't even think it's really that green. I made it black. Or the chart is black at least. Because someone else was complaining about the green. If the green hurts your eyes, you need to go outside more. Not, or at least open the windows. Because I used to have that problem when I was younger. Because I used to stare at the screen all day. Like in the dark, like Wojak. You gotta open up the light and let the light hit your eyes. And it doesn't hurt, I promise. Like, I bet you if I make the screen white, it would be like, my eyes, my eyes. How do I even do that? Oh, my eyes, my eyes. My eyes. Uncle Bacon for 10 months. I'm sorry, I confused you for somebody else because they have that same profile picture, but I don't know what that is. It looks like a Lego. I thought you were the same guy, but his guy is different. His guy has black hair and a black shirt. Is that Roblox? I appreciate the sub for 10 months. Best time to enter, August, October, November. Thanks. I appreciate the sub. Well, we'll talk about that today, actually. Depends on what you're buying, and it depends on, or not what you're buying, because obviously none of this is financial advice, but it depends on a lot. Okay? But I appreciate the sub. But I was looking at it this morning, and we can actually predict, or not predict, but we could guess exactly when the best time to get in will be. And I'm gonna share a lot of stuff today. So, because dude, I just Googled it on my other monitor. We're 168 days from October 10th. 198 days ago was October 10th, 2025, which was where the big crash started. So we're closer to the end of the bear market than the beginning. So I do think starting in June we could really start preparing for the bull market, but we got to see what ends up happening over the next couple of weeks because this rally, while if you think about it, it has been going on for 2 months already, almost three now. The very first day we went from 60K to 71,000. That was a one day. Now 2 months later, we're up 7K. So we did one move in one day, and then it took 40 days to do the rest of it. That's not the best sign. But we're going to talk about it today. But the straight answer, in my opinion, would probably be October, November, December. But it depends on what you're buying. If you're buying Floki, I don't know. If you're buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, probably probably November. But I appreciate the sub. What's up, Teutonic? We got metal detecting in the chat. Great to see you. Welcome back, man. Hopefully you're doing all right. Echo Tango, Hyperliquid. It's Eat My Shorts. Oh, yeah, that's so bizarre. I don't know why. What's up, Chris? How we doing today? What's up, Chris? I don't know why my chat has the usernames, but everyone else has regular names. Am I the only one that has that problem? We got Librarian is in the chat. Shiba? I don't think Shiba's coming back. Jake T says, what happened to the rebrand? We're still looking at shitcoins. What do you mean? We're looking at Bitcoin right now. Moonwolf is in the chat. Welcome. All right, 65 viewers. Not too shabby. So I guess I'll start with that. So I was actually looking at a bunch of YouTubers, and almost all of us, well, I don't want to call myself a YouTuber, but because I'm not in the same category as everyone else, but a lot of the YouTubers, almost all of them, if you just go back and look at their videos from even 5 months ago, 3 months ago, their views got cut in half. So there's nobody here. And it's going to get even worse over the next 2 to 3 months. Even the most bullish YouTubers, if you look at their views are cut in half. So that's the biggest indication that there's nobody here. And it's actually going to get worse. So for those of you that are still here, I appreciate that. But the fact that the engagement is so low, I'm trying to see if I can pull up a chart that shows that. The engagement is so low, which is very normal for a bear market. So for people that see the price going up, while the price is going up, it's not generating any real staying power because there's nobody here. Even when the bull run first begins, people come back. But the fact that there's nobody here, that in itself says this rally's not real. Solo for 5. I appreciate that, man. I haven't gotten a notification in over 2 months. Good to know you're still around. NETA on Lunk. Looks like it wants to break out. I appreciate the 5, man. That is awesome. Yeah, I haven't streamed in 3 months. Or maybe it was almost 3 months. Yeah, I haven't been streaming. That's why I haven't gotten a notification. But I appreciate the 5, man. I appreciate the 5. The YouTube algorithm is hating. It's not even that. Like literally, I was looking through even bullish YouTubers, their views got cut. There's nobody here. This is very standard for bear market. And I'm going to talk about it today because I think I see what's going on here. I actually think our bull run, it's going to start at the same time, but I think it's going to get bullish faster. And I think that's why we got duped in 2024. Even though we knew we were supposed to get out, we didn't. Now I think the top, which the real top is going to be in the same spot at the end of the year of the 4th year. But the real top for us, like the get out, I think is going to be earlier than anticipated. But let me look at Luna Classic for a second. So I actually think while Luna Classic is a doo-doo coin, it is worth paying attention to because whenever Luna Classic pumps, we actually rally or top out. So you see how in November, Luna Classic spiked and then Bitcoin spiked. So the fact that Luna Classic is pumping right now is a good thing to watch because if we see a gnarly rally, but then a big rug, that's going to tell us that we're bearish. I mean, it happened right here too in 2024. Luna Classic spiked up and then got a big rug. It happened here as well. We got a big spike up and a big rug. So I think it did happen at the end of 2022. Luna Classic had a big spike up and then we had a big rug for Bitcoin. So I'm not saying Luna Classic is going to dictate the market, but Luna Classic is something to pay attention to because it is very good at calling tops and rallies. So it's too early to say, but it lets us know that we're bullish for sure. Excuse me. But I'm going to be really curious to see if it gets rugged right afterwards. But it is bullish for now. If we zoom in and just take well, I wouldn't say it's bullish yet, but in the short term, it's bullish. We got to get over this here at like 64, I think. I think if you can get through 64, you are bullish. But anything below 64, and it's still really bearish because you can zoom in and you can see that you do have some type of rising channel here. And a rejection from 63 would be very bearish. And then you can take your fib from this low to the high, and you can say that the 618 is at 39. So if you want to be bullish, that's up to you. As long as it's over 39, you could say that it is bullish. But any lower than 39 and it's bearish. This bear flag would break and you would see a move down to the low. So for me to say to the moon, you got to get over 63 in my opinion, which isn't even really to the moon, but it would be bullish in the medium term. But I appreciate the 5, man. I appreciate the 5. Sick background, like the Riddler villain vibes. Sick background. You mean for the chart? Not my wall. This is the same wall. All the walls are the same. I just simply turned the camera. I'm assuming you're talking about the background for the chart, not my camera. All right, 85 viewers. I can't complain. I can't complain, man. I had 140 during the whole bull market, but that's the thing. The bull market kind of cut short. I'm going to try and pull up the Google Trends. So the first thing I want to talk about, I think, is the participation of the viewers, because I think that's a big part of where we are. So I don't definitively think we have to repeat everything. If you guys don't go outside or you hurt your eyes, watch out, man, because this is gonna blind you. But if you don't go outside right now, Sonny's like, ah, I can't watch. So listen, the crypto Google results peaked in July, basically where Ethereum topped. And you see how they also peaked in 2024 and March, where Kevin found the YouTube channel. Right now, we're deep in the gutter, and it just went down. So we're probably in here somewhere, where we're getting ready for the final wave down. And that's it. I think the worst, I'm not saying the worst is behind us, definitely not, but I think just getting through I think we're right in here somewhere. Just getting over the hill, like, you'll know it's bearish. But when we're down here, we'll know it's time to start getting bullish. Because this has been in a downtrend since 2025, but we haven't yet broken down. The problem is everybody already left after this. So if you're still here, unfortunately, some of you, and I said this back in January, some of you will leave, right? And it's not just my YouTube channel, it's everyone's YouTube channels, for the most part, unless they're view botting. The view botters will never lose viewers, but if the person's not view botting, then their views are going down. It's everyone's channel is going down. So if someone's views are staying the same, they're probably view botting. Now, the only one that I see, which is kind of all over the place, is Ben Cohen. I was looking at his videos today. I was scrolling through them, and like, his channel is just not losing views. But everyone else is. But you could see that this topped out in July, and it looks like it's getting ready to go lower. So something worth paying attention to. And there's actually a decent amount of other charts I want to share with you. This is the real Fear and Greed Index. I didn't realize the website had it. This one I can make dark because I know a lot of you like the dark colors. But I didn't realize this chart existed. And you can just see how high we spiked. So we did hit, looks like 6. Oh man, we hit 5 on the Fear and Greed Index. Now, some people are running around saying that this is the bottom. The thing is, in 2022, we hit 6 as well, and it wasn't actually the bottom. All right. Now, it could be the bottom for the Fear and Greed Index, but it's not necessarily the bottom for Bitcoin. All right. We did hit 6 in 2022. We had the summer rally, very similar to what we just had. So there's a good chance we come back into fear one more time. Now, the reason why this is also interesting is because we hit greed, or maybe this is extreme greed, I don't know, in March of 2024. Now, you'll notice, I can speak for myself, that after March of 2024, it became very difficult to make money. It wasn't impossible, but it became very difficult. And we're going to have to watch this, because using the Fear and Greed Index definitely helps. There's no question. Because if you would have gotten out around February or March, you did okay. You're not complaining. Now look at the little baby top we had in July. We hit fear again, or sorry, extreme greed. And then that was it. So just because we come into extreme fear doesn't mean the absolute bottom is in, because we hit here. What you would think is the actual top wasn't. The real top was all the way over here. All right. So it's the same concept, it's just on the downside. There's a good chance what we just saw was like max fear, but that doesn't mean that the bottom is in, because in 2022 it wasn't the bottom, and in 2024 max greed wasn't the top. And that's what's making the market dynamic change. And you can actually see that from February of 2021, it's very hard to see, but you could see it. There's almost like a downtrend forming where we have a high, then we have a lower high, then we have a lower high, then we have a lower high, and then when we make a higher high, the bull market starts. So you can see we have a high, we have a lower high, we have a lower high, we have a lower high. I would be curious to see if this actually breaks the trend. But you can see we just had a monster pullback even though the price didn't go anywhere. All right. So this is something to watch. But it's definitely worth monitoring because now we know for next time, listen, when we hit greed, it's probably, well, just because we hit greed doesn't mean it's time to get out. If you have a lot of money and it's at extreme greed, it's probably time to get out. That's definitely a clarification. Because when it was March of 2024, even I had a decent amount of money. And I was like, oh, nice, man, we're about to get rich. And then literally 2 months later, or however many months later it was, we died. So when we hit greed or extreme greed, I'm going to keep this chart. We'll know, okay, it's probably time to take some money out. All right. But I didn't know this chart existed. Very useful, in my opinion. Because even in 2019, it called the top. Extreme greed. Right? You didn't necessarily hit extreme greed in 2020 and it wasn't the top, but the next one was. Right? December, January, February. That was when Dogecoin went to the moon. So there is a good chance, and this is going to tie into the next thing I'm going to say. So this extreme greed was essentially where everyone made the most money. There's a good chance that the next time we hit extreme greed is going to be when everyone makes a lot of money. But the thing is, this was at the halving. This one was before the halving, and this one was after the halving. So there's a good chance that we actually get this again before the halving or at the halving. And the reason why that's so important is because in the past, it wasn't like that, where the real top was much later. Unfortunately, we don't have any more data past 2019. But like I said, if you put your money in Dogecoins here in August of 2023, you probably made the most money on this move. So I'm not saying we're in here, but we could be in something similar. We could be. I'm not going to say it's impossible because now even the fear and greed index is doing the same thing. But again, this was not the bottom. This one was the bottom. So we'll be watching this to see if it actually breaks out. Now, I just saw someone in the chat mentioning this, which is really interesting. He was talking about the M2. I already had this chart up before he even said anything. But what's really interesting here is the year-over-year growth of the M2. Now, we can't say it's going to be the same because we don't know. But you can clearly see that when the M2 is in a bear market, Bitcoin's in a bear market. But when we capitulate to the bottom, you can see is when it's actually negative year over year. It's been the case every time. Now, it doesn't have to happen. Okay? We're just going to watch it to see if it does. But you can see that the year-over-year M2 is shrinking. Now, maybe it ends up doing something like this, where it goes up again. But I want to point something out to you. This climbed and we went down. All right? That's not a good sign. Normally when this climbs, you want to see some type of rally. Which means that if we don't rally now, we know we're going much lower. All right, I'm not saying it has to repeat because it doesn't always repeat. You can see in 2022, it repeated. We were deep in the orange and we went down to the bottom. In 2014, we were deep in the orange and we went down to the bottom. In 2018, it did turn orange, but it barely turned orange. So I'm not saying we have to turn orange. I'm just saying we have to watch it, because if it ends up going lower, we're going to get closer to orange. But it's definitely something, at least in my opinion, to pay attention to, because we did make a higher high, but Bitcoin went down. And you could say the same thing happened here, where we went up, but Bitcoin went up after that. So unless Bitcoin's about to go up now, it's screaming that it is actually still bearish. So those were just two little charts that I realized I had access to. I didn't even know what they were. I'm still playing around with the website, but I've seen many influencers talk about the Bitcoin aggravated funding rate chart, saying this proves the bottom is in. I mean, listen, I'm not going to try and disprove what other people are saying. Maybe the bottom is in, but for me, I can't throw all my money in when we were bearish for 5 months. Maybe it's different this time, but I'm not going to tell my viewers that, because every time anyone has ever done that, they've gotten destroyed. So for me, again, I'm looking for bullish signs. They're there, but I can't personally throw my money in when we've only been bearish for 5 months and we've only fallen by 50%. So we're definitely bullish right now because the momentum is maximum bullish. I feel like I've been saying that for a while now. It's kind of getting tiring. Maximum bullish. We are maximum bullish. So you do have to give the bulls the move, but July is now, or not July, sorry, October is now what? It's going to be 5 months away next week. So at some point, we're either going to have to go up and take this high, or we're going lower. And I can't make it go down, but I'm not so sure we can just sit here doing nothing for that much longer. We kind of have to start moving up, because this is bull market momentum right now. And when you get this momentum and the price doesn't go up, this is what happens. I don't want to say these are the same because they're not, but you can see the momentum is the same spot. So we kind of got to start moving. Bitcoin has 2 to 6 hours to pump before it feathers down. I mean, I'm not going to put timestamps on anything, honestly, because we could rally all the way until Friday or Wednesday, is it? I don't know. The FOMC meeting has been triggering the reversal points. So it will be interesting to see if we go bullish. If we go bullish after the FOMC meeting, then this rally could go on for a while. Because you don't want to be permanently bearish either, because the momentum is maximum bullish. It is. But just for me personally, I can't throw my money in and hold, knowing that we only went down for 5 months. Now, these two big green candles, you can see we have had 7 red candles in a row, but we've only been bearish since October, because this was a new all-time high, which is really interesting how it was a new high, but it was a red candle. But you did have 7 red candles in a row, so getting 2 green isn't that far-fetched. But we're just at that point again where, you know, the camp that's bullish is bullish and the camp that's bearish is bearish. That's just what it is. It's a tug of war. So I would just say, you know, just manage your risk appropriately, and even if the bottom was in and we're going to the moon, there's a billion coins. I don't even know, there's not a billion coins, but there's a million coins at least. So What year do I think we hit 1 million? I don't think it's ever gonna hit 1 million. Maybe 2050. 377 EMA is holding. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, so I'm sure you've probably seen the 200-day moving average all over YouTube. I'm not using the 200-day moving average just because I don't want to. Not that it's wrong, I just don't want to use it. Maybe we get there, maybe we don't. But what's really interesting, which I'm sure, or maybe people are talking about it, but everyone has been made aware that in every bear market you've hit the red moving average. But what I realized is when it actually starts sloping down like this, you're actually deep in the middle of the bear market. So I really am curious, is this going to be the last rally before we go down? Maybe, listen, maybe it's different this time and the bottom is in. But if it isn't, then this last rally is gonna fade really hard. And that's what I noticed. So I'm not saying we have to use the 200 day as resistance or support or anything, but it's the change in direction. You can see the difference this time though is this thing crossed down from the get-go. That's never happened before. And I think that's what's throwing off all the momentum. Now, that's just my opinion, obviously. That's not data driven. But you can see that whenever the 200-day moving average has curled down, the bear market has been deep underway. Ours crossed down immediately a month later. So I think that's the explanation as to why the momentum is doing what it's doing, because it is what it is. Like I don't have a direct explanation, but because moving averages are momentum, they're past moves. Like the 200-day is going down because we went down, and the momentum started turning bearish here. So what looks like a bottom based on the momentum, such as the RSI, I'm sure the MACD is a popular one. That's because it topped out here. That's just my opinion, though. Maybe it's different this time, okay? I'm going to precede by saying that, but I personally am not buying that theory. I'm not buying the theory that it's different this time. But it is worth pointing out that this is the first time the 200-day moving average did just go straight down. Normally, it takes a couple of months to do that. And you can see here, I mean, it's 160 days pretty much each time. Oh wow, it is pretty much 160 days. This time it was instant. It was only like 30 days from the top. So I do think that's something to at least share, right? I'm not trying to make bearish propaganda. Maybe it's bullish, but that's something to point out. That when this moving average goes down, it is very bearish. So on the topic of moving averages, we're actually getting a bunch of big moving average crosses over the coming days. They're not that common though, which we gotta now take a step back from giving that much weight to them, because we got how many death crosses in March and none of them played out. So I'm not going to sit here telling you, well, this has to happen because it always happens, because we did that in March. We got the nastiest death cross of them all and we went up. But I do want to highlight that on the large time frames, you are starting to get some moving average crosses. All right. So we're going to get a new candle today on this one. You can see these moving averages are probably going to cross in May, maybe June. In 2022, when they crossed, you can see that the top pretty much formed right after that. Now in 2018, you can see the top did form and we went down. Now at face value, this doesn't look that big because the bottom was in, but if you zoom in, you can see that we fell by 18%. So if we fall from 18% from now, we go all the way back to 63,000. And if we went to 63,000 with the momentum that we have now, I don't see the low holding. And the same thing happened here where we did get a reversal to the downside. So even though the bottom was in, we still fell by 30%. And again, we reversed. So I'm not saying it has to happen. It doesn't have to happen. But I can't show you imaginary lines. I have to show you what has happened. All right. It looks like it's going to cross probably in May, maybe in June. Does that mean that's where the top is? Maybe. But there's a decent amount of them. If I don't remember all the time frames, unfortunately, because there's so many of them. But was there? I think there was one on the 5-day. Yeah, maybe it was the 5-day. But you can see here the 5-day crossed the white and red, and the rally basically ended. The rally didn't end, but you basically formed the top, and then we went down. In 2018, you actually started the rally to the moon. And then in 2014, same thing. You didn't form the top, but the top wasn't that far away. So I'm just showing you, like, if it is still a bear market, the top really shouldn't be that far away. It really shouldn't. And the reality is we've now been 78K for 10 days. So there are a little bit of bearish signs coming in. I don't know if there was another one, but again, you cannot get more bullish than we are right now. The S&P made a new high. You had a V bottom. The stock market or the stock RSI is doing the same thing. The missing piece here is the move to the upside. Any type of red candle to the downside confirms that we're still in a bear market. In my opinion, at least. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that this will be a cycle that's different from previous due to changing regulations and backing the top. I mean, listen, I'm not going to argue. You got to do what's best for you. That's all you can really do. Brody says, I think we're preparing for a big launch to the moon. Wait, we got 130 viewers in the chat. Is that real? Where'd all you come from? Who are all you people? Wow, we got 128 viewers. That wasn't like that past couple of days. Are we bullish? Oh, maybe it's because I have a bullish title. Ah, maybe I do have to be bullish on YouTube. I'm going to start playing my PSP and come back in 2027. Oh, I'm glad you said that. Okay, so I do have some hopium though. Now, this is some hopium that I am buying into. This is interesting. The MACD is just full-blown bullish right now, but what's really interesting is the 2-week MACD has started to curl up. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to the moon, but it does start the timer. That's some hopium I can buy into. Because in all the prior bear markets, it doesn't tell you the bottom, but it tells you when we're going to launch. Because I'm going to mark this for you, and then you're going to see the date after I show it to you. So you see how I'm marking the MACD? I'm not marking the price. But if you actually look at the price as the MACD crosses green, look at where it is. You catch the whole bull run. This one you got scammed, and then you caught the whole bull run. So can't rule that out. If something has happened before, you can't rule it out. But you caught the whole bull run. Again, COVID there was a COVID scam. I don't know, but you still never came back. Maybe you did come back to that price, but the concept is you get a big rally. So our 2 week MACD is probably not going to cross. I don't know when. But here's the thing. In order for it to go like this, you need to continue to be bullish, which is why I was saying earlier, any type of move back down confirms that it's still bearish. Because you can see here, you were turning light red and then you went down again. There's no guarantees that we're just going to keep going up, which is why I'm trying to emphasize the fact that we are so bullish, we need to go up now. And if we don't, it's screaming that you're still bearish, which is why I'm not buying in, because I don't think the bottom is in yet. But this is telling me that the big rally should be here somewhere, which is still obviously a long way away, but we might be over the hill. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because when it is about to turn green, that's the best time to get in for me. So someone asked before, when's the best time to get in? We're going to know because the 2 week MACD is going to be close to turning green. And I'll let you know when it does. So right now, it's way too early to say. But it's definitely worth watching over the next couple of months. Because it doesn't tell you that the bottom is in. It tells you that you're about to go up. Because the 2 week MACD didn't turn green until April of 2019. But the bottom was already in for 3 months. So this isn't even close to turning green. Even if we were green for the next 8 weeks, it still wouldn't turn green until like August. Or maybe July. So definitely something that we're going to watch. Now, I'm sure the weekly MACD is making a lot of people very bullish, and it's understandable. But you do have to take into consideration that, again, in 2022, the MACD turned green, and we still made another low after that. So just something to share. Doesn't have to play out that way. But that's something that I noticed today as well. Was there anything else? Is there anything else I wanted to share? I don't think necessarily. Oh, maybe something with a halving. Oh, maybe it was this. I can't make this black, so I can't even go full screen either. Right? Can you see that? So this is telling us that we're pretty much halfway through the bear market. All right. Unfortunately, they're not tracking this market cycle. That would be nice. But this is essentially what's left. And the thing that's interesting is the 5-day stock RSI was overbought on this green one, and it was overbought here on the blue one. The orange one, it wasn't overbought. It was overbought back here. So the way I would word this is, because at the end of the day, most of the time, if someone is bullish, they can't be persuaded. And if someone is bearish, they can't be persuaded. So you just have to manage your risk. That's all you can really do. And I would really argue that, yeah, maybe it's different this time and the bull run's about to begin. But if that is not the case, we are so far from the bottom that we have to basically go straight down. Because while I understand the concept of the 4-year cycle says the bottom is over here, we are so far from there, especially if we go higher than this. So it's almost like you have two options here. Well, no, you have two options, being bullish or bearish. But then when you're bearish, you change. It like diverts. I'll explain that in just a second. So maybe this is the bottom and we're going to the moon. But if that's not what happens, we are so far from the bottom that we have to essentially go from 80K down to 40K. Now, that could happen quick, or it could be like 2018, where we actually just sit here for months, and then all of a sudden it just goes like this, straight down. I kind of hope that happens, because that will give us time to prepare. Because the momentum is so bullish right now, it's like, are we just going to go up and then roll over? I don't know. But when I know it's annoying to hear, but I'm trying to really stress the emphasis that we are so bullish right now that we have to kind of blast out of here or we're going straight down at some point. Doesn't mean it has to be right away. But I do have to lean to the more bearish side because we are going to be 200 days into the bear market starting this week. And if you do look at what happens 200 days in, this one you can see we plopped right down to the low. I don't think that's happening. That's not going to happen. This one was, again, you went sideways for months on end, and then you went down. And then I think this one you just went down. So, yeah, this one you just went down. So if I had to guess, again, I'm not saying that I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of YouTubers that are giving you bullish information. I'm not trying to override what they're saying, but could we do something like this? I think this is unlikely just because of the momentum. You can't ignore the momentum either, right? If you look at that MACD I just showed you. Oh, I got rid of it, but I don't think we're going to be bearish until June of 2027. So this I would have to rule out. And we're not going to 29,000 either. Could we get a smaller version? Sure, but then you wouldn't be able to use this. I think something like this is definitely possible. And the reason why I think this is possible is because the S&P 500 is doing the same thing. So we can rule out 2014. But could we do something like this, where this is the last rally, then we come back down, and then all of a sudden they pull the rug heading into October and September, and then we turn bullish in December? I actually think this is very likely. I don't think we're not gonna go all the way to 100,000. It's gonna be smaller, but the concept is I think it could play out that way. Because we would still get down to sub 50K. Everyone would say it's bearish, and then we would get accumulated from September until December, and then we would go up. And then 2018, or excuse me, 2022 would be nice if we just did this. And this would also work because it says we would turn bullish in December. I do think personally by Christmas we are bullish. Like, not just the bottom is in, but I'm actually starting to think we're gonna turn bullish before Christmas. Because that's what the MACD says. Even here you can see the 10-day MACD is about to turn green, but when it turned green here, we went down for the bottom. But again, you have to be able to accept too that this was the top for the MACD, but it wasn't the top for the market cycle. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the bottom is in. But it does suggest that the bearishness is definitely losing its strength. Oh, actually, I wonder if the monthly MACD turning green could be a good indicator too. Like if you go all in shitcoins when the MACD turns green. What's after a month? But it's not gonna let. Wait, yeah, they will. What is that? Like 6 weeks, right? Yeah. So I guess if the 6-week MACD turns green, that's when you buy altcoins. Maybe. Maybe. But see, now you look at this and you say, well, is this the whole bear market? It's going to be 3 candles, 4 candles. And the thing is, we were already deep in the bear market. Yeah, see, I think this is why the MACD might not be as reliable as it once was. Because the MACD turned red in March of 2022, but we were already in a bear market for 4 months. Our MACD turned red in December, which was like 2 months. And in 2018, it turned red at the end of the bear market. So it's moving. Yeah, I think this is a trap. Maybe I'm wrong, right? I don't want to say I'm definitively right. But for me personally, I think this is a trap. I know some people get really mad and toxic, and I don't want to trigger the toxicity, right? I want to keep everyone happy, but I think this is a trap. I need to save more money. I got a birthday coming up. Happy birthday, man. This is the 5th time this week tuning in, and as soon as I click your channel, you're always saying this doesn't mean this confirms the bottom. Soon you will get your confirmation. I mean, listen, there's a decent amount of people who are bullish. I'm not trying to make you guys bearish, right? Maybe we go to the moon from here, but I can't tell you that because the reality is the people that were saying to the moon here got rinsed and then they just changed it again. And if that happens again, there's only so many more of these, you know? Like I think in my opinion, after the next one, I am gonna start saying to the moon. Well, it wouldn't be to the moon yet, but I wouldn't be that bearish anymore. But maybe it's different this time, right? To me personally, it doesn't matter. I don't really care. Like if we went, you know why I don't care? Because in 2023, we all FOMO'd in and we all got wrecked anyway. Right? I mean, we were all here. We all bought in and we were all here, but all of us didn't make any money until all the way over here. So even if we went like this, the most money to be made isn't even going to be on the table until we break the all-time high. That's just the truth. Like even in 2021, how many people, myself included, bought in down here and we didn't make any money until the very last second when it finally broke out. So if we really did explode from here, then I'm okay with that because I have the money ready to go. Once we take this high, I'm FOMOing in to the moon. And I'm going to be able to because Solana's not moving and BNB is not moving. And I have a whole list of about 100 coins. They're all dead. Death. That's what they look like. Death. They look like death. So I don't feel any FOMO because there is no FOMO. The only thing that's moving is Bitcoin. I mean, even Dogecoin isn't moving. So even if it is a super cycle, there's plenty of time. There's no FOMO at all. And that's gonna make some people upset, and that's okay, right? But I'm officially too old to like go back and forth. You know, I've been on YouTube for over 5 years now. When I first started, I was a young lad, but not anymore. So I look, well, obviously I don't look young because I'm bald, but from far away I look younger because of my skin. But when I zoom in, like when I look at myself in the mirror, I can tell I'm getting old. So I can't really go back and forth with the trolls anymore. I'm too old. You were not on Y Day, so I thought you were taking weekends off. Well, we got 140 viewers. I don't know. Is a lot of viewers a top signal? We got a lot of new faces in here. I am not familiar with the viewers in the chat here. Is this the passing of the torch? Every bull market we have new viewers and the old ones come back at the top. That's true. Let me see if I see any. We got JK, Troll TV, Keemall, Fly Fan. Even Fly Fan says today's my 5th day watching the stream. 5th day watching the channel. Dude, shout out to the new people. We got Yo Schmick. Use the LMACD. Yeah, I used to use the LMACD, but it's not the same. I used to because it's not squished. But for some reason, it's not the same. It's like delayed. We just need a glimpse of hope. In May, we go down. See, there's a lot of bullish people in the chat, but the poll is still 56, not a bull market. So it's almost like only the bullish people are typing. Wow, we got 150 bogeys. I haven't even said bogeys in a while. Wow, what's going on? Is today the top? Is it because I made my title bullish? Bull market starting? I'm a noob, my first day here. I enjoy looking at your ears. No, Emperor Doge, you've been here for a long time. Yeah, see, Chris Cross says I'm new. You sound like a jabroni. So, we are going to bear or bull market. In my honest opinion, right? And again, I'm only making my opinion based on the historical data. I think deep inside, we're all moon boys. We all want to get rich and go to the moon. But I've been here for long enough of enough round trips that there's no FOMO. All right, I understand you don't want to miss the boat, but we've had zero. Now, here's the thing. When I say zero bear market bottom indicators, some people will run with that and say, well, we didn't have any bull market indicators, top signals. If you watch traditional crypto YouTube, then you're right. There were many people pushing the pi cycle top, but we knew from the get-go the pi cycle top wasn't going to work. Our top signals did go off. We just faded them. All right. Now, I hate to say it, but us having this many viewers isn't necessarily the most bullish sign. But when we had 1,000 to 2,000 viewers in the chat, that was the top. When there's nobody in the chat, that's usually the bottom. Unfortunately, most of you clicked on the stream after we already talked about it, but the Google trends are getting ready to plummet, which means that we're still in a downswing. Now, in the beginning of the stream, I made the case we're probably in something like this. It doesn't have to be this, because I know May and April was the big crash, but we're clearly in the downswing. So we need a long period of nothing. The good news is, when the nothing is in, the bear market is over. So we have to slope down first, which is what we just started doing. This means that nobody's searching crypto. But for me personally, as I got sidetracked, none of the bear market bottom indicators got hit. Now, some people will get upset with that, and that's just the nature of crypto. Oh, this guy's a perma bear, this guy's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. That's what crypto is. They result to insults. And you know why I laugh at that? Because I realize that most of the people in crypto are between 25 and 40. So it's probably a 30-year-old man banging on his keyboard saying, this guy's the bum, this, like 30 years old. So I just laugh at it now. But the reality is, if you do look at the historical, which not all of them are going to work, but the ones that we use, if you watch the stream, for those of you that were around, we used the very same Nupal. And we said, listen, when we hit overbought, it's probably best to get out. And we didn't. You know why we didn't? Because we said it's too early for the bull market to be over. And technically, that was true. The bull market didn't end until all the way out here. But this specifically said, take profit. And then it said again, take profit. And then of course, when we all say, okay, this is going to be the one we take profit, it doesn't reach. But you did reach 2 times. So just based on that alone, the fact that we went from green to red, in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion. I'm trying to make sure I make that point that I know a lot of YouTubers and even me in the past speak in absolutes, this must happen. I'm not saying that this time. I'm just simply saying I personally believe that because we've always come to the red and that was the best time to get out, coming to the green should occur. Now, I worded that purposefully on purpose, because you can see that this wasn't actually the bottom. This was the bottom. But coming to this red zone, or I guess I would say green because we're looking at the bottom now, was technically a very, very good time to get in, even though it wasn't the bottom. This is one of the big indicators that I'm looking at. Maybe it doesn't happen this time. It would be the first time ever. So if that's what you're betting on, then so be it. But I can't bet on the first time ever because we already tried that and it didn't work. But I do think this will be one of the big bottom signals for me that says, okay, it's time to get in. And the fact is, this did work in the bull market. So like I was going to say before, a lot of YouTubers have a bunch of top signals that never went off. This one did go off. This one said 2 times, get out. But most of us didn't. So for people that are buying in now, saying this is the bottom, maybe it's different this time. But if it isn't, you're similar to the people who bought in July of 2018 when the bottom was in, and then we went straight down. And you're also similar to the people who bought in around September of 2014, where the bottom was in, and then we went straight down. And I cannot stress this enough, okay? September of 2014 and July of 2018. I cannot stress these 2 dates enough, because if you go back and look at those 2 dates and you put the S&P 500 on the chart, look at what the S&P 500 did. It just made a new all-time high, and everybody was euphoric. That's just an exaggeration. I remember back here, there was nobody left. People were talking about Litecoin. If you go back to September of 2014, look at what the S&P, oh my gosh, it just did a V recovery. Made a new all-time high. And the price of Bitcoin faded both times. But both times there was a relief rally. Now, I'm not saying we're in here because, again, the momentum suggests that we should have been past that. But the momentum is potentially changing now. So I can only show you what has actually happened. I can't make up a scenario. We already tried that a long, long time ago. All right. So for those of you that are bullish, maybe it's different this time. But I can't tell you to bet on something that has never happened before. All right. That's all I'm saying. Because the reality is, if this isn't the actual bottom and there is another move down, then if there's another move down, then the 4-year cycle will prevail. And if the 4-year cycle prevails, then the bottom has to be significantly lower. And if this isn't the bottom, then everyone who just FOMO'd in is going to lose everything. And I would rather watch the price go to the moon and then get in on some type of altcoin than try and buy in now when almost all of the altcoins are not moving. This is extremely bearish because you'll remember back when the bull run did start, even in 2019, the altcoins went up. Okay, so Cardano, you can see when the bull run first started, Cardano had a monster spike, but then it retraced back to the low. Right now, it's not moving. Now, maybe that changes over the next couple of weeks, but we're starting to get to that point where the next couple of weeks is running out of time because it's going to turn bearish again soon. BNB, same thing. BNB, you even had a big rally out of the bottom, but then it retraced back to the low anyway. So that's why for me, I would rather watch the Bitcoin price go to the moon and then say, okay, what am I buying? Because how many of us were here and we said, what are we buying? And we bought everything except for Bitcoin. And then the prices came back to lower than they were when we got them. Even Dogecoin. Dogecoin's low when Bitcoin bottomed was all the way up at 7.1 cents. So even if the day Bitcoin bottomed, you bought Dogecoin, almost a year later, you could have bought in lower. There's no rush whatsoever, at least for me, right? I know some people have to catch the bottom. And unless you bought Bitcoin, you probably didn't catch the bottom because there's probably another bottom. Even if Bitcoin bottomed, you're still probably going to get another low on the altcoins because that has always happened. Even in 2019, I remember that too. Dogecoin made another low. I said, dude, these coins are shit. You see? Dogecoin broke the low from 2018. And you could say it was only because of COVID, but if you zoom in, you can see that we did actually break the low, even though Bitcoin bottomed in December. And this, mind you, was a year later, February to December. So I can only caution you. I'm not going to tell you not to buy in. I'm not going to tell you to buy in. I can only show you the information. And the reality is 0 out of however many bottom signals have gone off. And I know that's controversial. Oh, wait, I was using the old overlay. Whoops. I know that's controversial, but that's just up to you to decide. You know, same thing with the MVRV for the long-term holders. You can see that we never actually hit red, which does mark the capitulation. But you'll notice that the real top was back in 2024. So whatever we saw in 2024 was not necessarily wrong. It was just incorrect for the price. But this was the top for the momentum and for the MVRV and for pretty much everything except for Bitcoin, if not this one. But you'll see that every bear market we've hit this red, and we're not even close to it right now. But what's interesting is the MVRV is not really budging, even though the price is. Okay? Now again, maybe it's different this time. But the reality is, every bull market, it's getting lower and lower, which is actually increasing the probability that it comes to the red. Because think of it like a basketball. If it bounces high, then it comes to the ground. Then it bounces even lower. Then it comes to the ground. Then it bounces even lower. And that's what I'm trying to get across is maybe it is different this time and we're going to the moon. But if it's not, this is the next stop. And this red is so far from where we are that if I buy in now and we go down there, I will never recover. And some of you might, right? Everyone's in a different position, but I can't FOMO in here. And then in 3 months, if we're down here, it's game over. There's no recovering because now I have to wait probably a year and a half just to get that money back, you know? And that's how I'm looking at it. For me, there's no reason to FOMO. So hopefully that makes sense. But I'm trying to look at everything. Like, I'm not only looking at bearish stuff. We've been shouting max bullish. Even though I'm not saying it's a bull market, that doesn't mean you can't have a bullish trend. Because even at the low here, we were like, all right, crash ain't coming, chat. That's it. At 68K, I think I made the videos saying that it's bullish. So not the exact bottom, but close enough to the bottom. And I said this as a joke, but the reality is it ended up coming true. Dogecoin was the same price. So even if I did say, all right, I'm buying Dogecoin, it was the same price. So there's no reason to FOMO. And the reality is crypto isn't what it once was. Most of the YouTubers got rich when there was like 10,000 coins, and then that was it. You know, so they pushed a pipe dream. The pipe dream is dead, in my opinion. There's going to be plenty of chances to make some good money, but this buy in and hold, I don't think that works anymore, unless you're buying Bitcoin. Or, as we said yesterday or a couple of days ago, if you can get in at that certain point where Bitcoin runs to the all-time high, that's the best time to buy in. Now, the reason why this is a never-ending spiral is because some people believe we are about to go to the high. And again, maybe it's different this time, but if it isn't, then some of these coins are about to go down by 60 or 50%. So we are maximum bullish on the medium time frame. There's no denying that. But I don't know how much longer this is going to stay like this if the price doesn't start moving. Whoa, we got 156 viewers in the chat. Welcome. Better off bought 500 index funds. Yeah, there's a lot of good choices out there. What about the new ETFs? I think it'll help folks keep money in. You're definitely a bear. Yeah, there's a lot of new people in the stream. Honestly, I just want Doge to go up just enough where I'm not at a loss. Yeah, that's how most people are. That's what keeps people holding for so long. And depending on what you're holding, it could go back up, but some of these people or some of these coins will never go back up. Like there's a coin, ACH, I was looking at it the other day. Like at some point, this coin is just going to go to zero. Because we're now below the 2022 bear market low. So if I think about this, if Bitcoin went from 17K to 130K and now it's lower, how is it going to go up now? You can probably get a scam bounce, but in my opinion, there's only a matter of time before this coin comes back here. And you might be saying to yourself, well, these coins are rubbish, and they are, but every coin is rubbish. What's another one? What's it called? VeChain. Look at VeChain. VeChain went back to where it was in 2020, and Bitcoin went from 15 to 130,000. So the reality is most people aren't buying Bitcoin. They're buying rubbish, which we've all bought rubbish before. But like Chill Guy, I don't think Chill Guy's ever going back there. Why do I think that? Because we just spent an entire market cycle buying old coins and none of them went up. So why would these go up? The next time, which is already happening now, they're already making new coins. Like a lot of people are buying this Monad coin. Maybe this is the next Solana or the next Caspa or whatever's out there. I don't know. But most of the people that are buying in right now are buying old coins, and we already made that mistake last time. So there's a lot of FOMO in the air, but you just gotta place your bet on what you think is gonna happen and live with the outcome. Do you think we're starting a new bull market, or are we just in a big rally? Is there hope for MOG? Yeah, MOG is another example. I think MOG, I don't know. I don't know. It might have topped forever. It depends on how low it goes. Like same thing with WIF. I don't think WIF is going back there. I think maybe there's a retracement like in the next bull run and then that's it. Why do I think that? Because how many Solana coins from 2021 didn't go back up? But the reality is we just got to let the price go wherever it's going to go. Maybe we do go to that 200-day moving average, but I'm not going to say maybe this, maybe that. I'd rather just tell you max bullish whenever it rolls over, it rolls over. It's the same thing. Could go up, could go down. I would rather say you're max bullish right now, so don't assume it has to crash because we could stay overbought for longer than people anticipate. Floki is different. Just look at the chart. Especially, and Floki's from 2021 as well, man. Wow, we almost got 200 viewers, man. All I had to do was make a bullish title. Let's go. Shout out to the Moon Boys in the chat. I can't even look at Floki. What's the... Shouldn't it be this? No, Floki looks just like everything else. Do I think SpaceX will trigger a Doge rally? I don't think so. I'm surprised Doge isn't pumping right now because the momentum is maximum bullish. Somebody said, why do I look at the stock RSI and not the RSI? Because the stock RSI lets you know what's going to happen before it happens. That's what made us stop being bearish at 68K. This was bullish even though the price wasn't doing anything. So it lets us know that it's bullish now. You're coming back into the algorithm? No, I think it's because I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna, maybe. I hope so. If I get 150 viewers, I'm not gonna get 150 viewers every day. But there were a lot of new people. Andre Bowles is new. OK Breeze is new. Sandy Sane Pede is new. JD Dogger is new. The Marine goes new, but XRP went lower. Yeah, a lot of coins went lower. Thomas Apes in the chat, he says, are we back? We we might be back. We might be back. Let me turn this off. I mean, we have we have every bullish indicator that ever existed. So it should go up if it's going to be bullish. You know, and it's not like I'm not showing it to you. I said I would never withhold information from you. Because I need the information for myself too. I don't want to try and short something that's bullish. I just DCA Bitcoin and ETH. Well, ETH I can't really say I'm a fan of because it didn't make a new all-time high, or it barely did. But I wonder if Bitcoin or if Ethereum is going to get a good run this time around. Trump promised higher gas prices. We got 160 viewers in the chat. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the stream. Feed me bullish propaganda. Bullish propaganda. I feel like I've been doing a decent job at feeding bullish propaganda. I mean, it's annoying to hear, but I can't stop saying it's max bullish. You know? Like I don't know what else I could say that's more bullish than max bullish. You can't get a more bullish environment than what you're in right now. It's impossible. When the weekly stock RSI is overbought, look at what happens. You go straight up. So if it is actually as bullish as some of the people think it is, we need to start moving up. Which maybe we are. Maybe it's about to happen. But I'm trying to do my best to just share with you information. That's what my job is to do. I mean, it's every time. However, this is the part that's tough to swallow. When you don't get this monster rally, or this monster rally, or this monster rally, you get this. Because this move started from an overbought stock RSI. The very one that we're at right now. And back in 2014, you did get the same move 2 times. The weekly stock RSI was overbought. We got a big rally. We didn't break the high. And then we went down. And then you got a second one. So what you're sitting through right now is maximum bullish. The problem is where the camp splits. Some people think it's a bull market. Some people think it isn't. I'm trying to emphasize that if it is not a bull market, which all historical reference points suggest that it isn't, the next move down is going to be nasty. And if you don't care, then so be it. But if you do care and you can't afford to lose any more money, I would say there's going to be plenty of chances to make money if this is actually a bull market. So there's no reason to FOMO. For me personally, and I can't tell you what to do. So I can only provide to you the information that it is technically max bullish, but I can't make the price go up. And if the price doesn't want to go up soon, there's nowhere for it to go but down. Because the 5-day stock RSI doesn't go sideways. It only goes sideways when the price is going vertical. If the price doesn't go vertical, then it can't go sideways. It has to roll over. Here it is again. You see how it goes sideways, but the price is going up? It doesn't just go sideways as we do nothing. Even here, you blew to the upside. If we didn't blow to the upside, it was going to roll over. So we can't sit here for that long. We could sit here for a little bit longer, but it's not going to go sideways forever. So there's only 2 options here. We're actually in a bull market, or this is going to fail at some point, and this would be the next move. And I can only present to you information. I can't make up reasons to be bullish. And the reality is, based on the historical reference points, we should come down here. Maybe history's different, right? Maybe it is, but I can't tell you that I can't tell you that as a base case. That's the problem. All right. That's all I'm saying. Trump conference marked a bottom. I don't even watch any of that stuff. I don't follow it. Your job is to feed the degens hopium? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just giving you the real-time information, both bullish and bearish, and that's all I can do. Even in today's video, I even said I'm surprised, though. I mean, it looks like it's about to start pumping. It should, right? Even this, people call me Mr. Permabear. This should go up. Dogecoin should go up from here. I mean, look at the 6-day stock RSI. If we don't go up now, it's not going up. And I said the same thing with the 5-day stock RSI. This cannot stay up here forever. The only time it does is when the price actually moves higher. We went from 16 cents to 30 cents. We almost doubled. So unless Doge is about to double, which the historical data says it should get something, the absence of that something is what is ultra bearish. And that's what I'm trying to show you. The momentum is, as I say, I should put it on a t-shirt, maximum bullish. We're max bullish right now. And the price isn't doing anything. I can't say that's the most bullish thing I've seen. It should go up, but we are, in my opinion, in a bear market. So if it doesn't, then look at where the move down comes from. Overbought stock RSI, overbought stock RSI, overbought stock RSI, this one didn't hit overbought. This one was overbought. I can't hold information from you. That's not fair. Look. Look, oh man, it's the same concept. 6-day stock RSI was overbought. The whole move down. Here it is again. So we are saying it is maximum bullish, but if the price doesn't want to go up, then where's it going to go? There's nowhere for it to go but down. Could it stay this price forever? No. Because it has never done that. Even here, you got a monster spike. We went from 5 cents to 15 cents. Whatever happened to Doge Chain? You remember that? Oh, you know, like I look at this chart and I say, oh man, that's not bullish. Wow, this thing's still going down. I remember when this first came out. This is why altcoins are dangerous, man. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. So I can only present the information and you make your decision. Tired of max pain? Time for max bullish? What about just the regular RSI and the MACD? Well, I think every indicator could be used, but the stock RSI is good at letting you know where a move should be. That's why I use it. So for example, this is an undeniable fact. And this exact statement that I'm about to make is what helped us get this crash. Every single time, this is not disputable, every single time in this bull market, when the 5-day stock RSI went from oversold to overbought, we broke the high from the last time it was overbought. It happened every single time. The very first time it didn't was right here, and we went straight down. I'm presenting that information to you again. The 5-day stock RSI is at 100. You cannot go higher than 100. Think about you're driving down the highway, your gas pedal's on the floor. You cannot go higher than this. It's maximum bullish. Why do I choose this specifically? Because if it is bullish, every time we've gone up. That's undisputable. So the act of us not going up is bearish in itself. Even though this looks like it didn't go up, it did. You hit overbought and you erupted from 50,000 to almost 75,000, which is 40%. So if we don't take this high, by definition, I know I don't want to trigger the bull people because I appreciate all my viewers. By definition, it is bearish because here it is again. The 5-day stock RSI hit overbought. You did not take the high from the last time you overbought and you went straight down. You hit overbought. You did not take the high from the last time you were overbought and you went down. It happened in 2018. You hit overbought. You did not take the high from the last time you were overbought or here, and you went down. Now, I can't definitively say we have to go straight down. Maybe we do something like this because I do have to respect the fact that the S&P is bullish. The S&P was bullish in 2018, so Bitcoin did something like this. The S&P is bullish now. So I don't really think 2022 is the best example to use because the S&P was bearish. We don't have that right now. That's why I'm looking at 2018 and 2014. But 2014 is the same thing. The last time you hit overbought on the 5-day stock RSI, you did not break the high. The S&P made a new all-time high, but Bitcoin went down. Then you did it again. The 5-day stock RSI hit overbought. We didn't take the high. We went down. So I prefer the stock RSI because there's a lot of historical trends. And the thing is, they're not set just based on historical trends. They're, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to sound smarter than I am. Just give me a second. Let me try and string a bunch of nonsense together. I mean, I guess technically you could use anything. I just like the stock RSI, right? Because you could, oh yeah, I got rid of that. You could technically say that the MACD is bullish, so we're bullish. The problem is there's traps set. Now, maybe that means I'm not reading it correctly, but again, the weekly MACD turned bullish in August of 2022, but the bottom wasn't in yet. So do I tell you guys that we're bullish because this crossed? When the very last time it crossed, we were bearish? I don't know. It's just it takes too long. That's why I don't use the MACD. I guess that would be my answer. It takes too long. You know, if you go on the daily time frame, you could argue that maybe it is bearish, but the daily stock RSI isn't that useful either. So there's kind of a sweet spot to it. Now, I would say that this at face value is bullish. This is bullish. There's no question. But what do we take from this? You know, in 2021, we made a new all-time high. In 2022, it was bearish. In 2023, we made a new all-time high. Yeah, there's too many moving parts for me. You know, I'm not saying the MACD is a bad indicator. I just don't use it. However, we said in the beginning of the stream, we are going to use it for this because the 2-week MACD will tell us exactly when we're about to go straight up. It has worked every time. Now, maybe it's different this time. We do have to let that sink in because the monthly MACD was wrong. But when the 2-week MACD turns green, that's the best time to get in. Maybe it's different this time, but that's what we're going to be watching because it lets you know before Which I guess that's what you were asking. Maybe I'm using the wrong time frames, but I am gonna use the MACD. When this MACD turns green, that's probably when I'm gonna get in. Like I want to be all in before it turns green. Because when it goes from where it is now to green, it not only means that the bottom is in, but it means you're actually about to go up. Right? I just marked the MACDs for you without the chart. And look at where it is. I think this one turned green here. Which we already said this before, but a lot of you are now, you weren't in the stream before. I think even in 20, whatever year this was, it turned green. So we will use the MACD. I just like the stock RSI, personally. I think it's all a matter of preference. But again, the MACD tells us you got to get in. And right now, it doesn't necessarily say that. It says, it doesn't really say anything. You know? There's nothing to take away from this. Like you could point out that yes, the bars are turning light, but that happened here too, and then we went down again. And then it happened here too, and we went down again anyway. So I can't really use that and say it's bullish. Now, it is worth pointing out that we're clearly in the deep end of the pool right now. Like I can't sit here saying, "Oh man, the big crash," even though I still think it is. Like we clearly had a momentum reset. But in June of 2024, you can see the MACD was high. And then we made a higher high even though it crossed. So who's to say that it doesn't go down again? That's why it's too much of there's too many moving parts. That's what I said before. Like it's not as consistent in my opinion as the stock RSI. Now it was, there's no question it was, because even we were using it. We were using it for the monthly time frame. You can see that when the bar turns white, the bottom was in already. Or sorry, in 2022, the bottom wasn't in. In 2018, the bottom was in. But the capitulation bottom was in on the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it was on the 5th or the 6th candle is what I said, right? The 6th candle. Our 6th candle's white. That's never happened before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, usually the 8th candle is white. We're on number 6 and it's white already. But here's the thing again. This was not the top. Oh, this was the top actually. Wow. This wasn't the top here. So these candles on the bottom are implying that the momentum topped out here, or maybe it was this one, but we know that that wasn't the top. So I think that's why it's turning white, but it's too little too late, right? It already turned white. The way that we were using it was every time the 6th candle was red, it was the bottom, or the capitulation bottom. But we didn't get that this time. We already have a white candle. So I think the MACD is useful, but unfortunately it was invalidated. Whereas the stock RSI, it's not really invalidated. But you could say the same thing here. Look, this should have been the top, but it wasn't. This should have been the top, but it wasn't. But this is where it's max bullish. So technically, this is max bearish, which is why I can't tell my viewers we're going to the moon, because this is max bearish. That's why I'm saying personally, if this fails, we're in the deep end of the pool right now. That's what I'm trying to say. I personally don't think that it's going to the moon. I think the stock RSI is telling us we're in the deep end of the ocean right now. On the macro time frame. Maybe this gets invalidated too, but I don't want to tell my viewers maybe, right? Maybe it's different this time. This is telling us that you're in the deep end of the water, and if this rally goes down, look at what happens after. Same thing on the large time frames. Can I get a large Diet Coke? Yeah, I don't even have to draw new lines. I think it's all preference. I just prefer the stock RSI. It is telling us the same thing though. Look, if we don't go up right now, the worst is in front of us. I didn't even have to draw new lines. I think it's just preference. I like the stock RSI. Oh my God, look at that. And that's what's really scary to me is look at, okay, so I drew these red lines on the monthly time frame, right? And then we changed it to the 2-month time frame, and it's the exact same. You're in the same spot. What's really scary is if I change it to the 5-day, which has nothing to do with any of that. It's not the exact same, but you can see where the red line is. Then we hit overbought on the stock RSI. You can see here we hit overbought to the T. Here we hit overbought shortly after. And then here you can see again we hit overbought shortly after. So I gotta scratch the back of my throat 1 second. I gotta mute my microphone. Sorry about that. There is a possibility we're in something similar. I'm not going to say they're the same because they're not. You're never going to see the same exact thing twice in a row. But I personally do think that this should technically be the last bull trap before we go down to the bottom. Because me personally, this whole soliloquy, I think, could be tied into what I said before with the MVRV and the Newpol. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to come off as I'm speaking in definitive terms. I don't want to do that. But even this is doing the same thing. Look at where the Newpol is. We're one drop away from coming into the oversold territory. So I again say, if you're bullish, maybe you're right, and it's different this time. But if it is not a bull market, there is nowhere to go but below 50,000. And if Bitcoin is below 50,000, I have to assume that Doge is going to be 6 cents or lower. And if Doge goes to 6 cents after I tell everyone to pile in, then I can't show my face. So I'd rather just tell you what I really think. I really think the bear market's not over. If it goes to the moon without me, then I get clowned. But I get clowned anyway, so it doesn't even matter. I'd rather keep my money. That's the biggest thing I learned. Stop losing all your money, man. Okay? If you stop losing all your money, then there's going to be a time where you can make money. But if you keep trying to chase every single time, you're going to lose all your money. And then when the real chase does come, you don't have any money to play. So I'm not chasing because I'm comfortable where I'm at. I wish I had more, but I could have a lot less. That's what I tell myself. And if this crash does come, I don't know where it is. That's the thing though. I can't confidently tell you I know where it is. Because here we were very confident that we were going down. What we're seeing right now hasn't necessarily happened because we did get the Gaussian channel to turn red and we did get the death crosses, but we didn't go down. So I'm not as confident that I know where the crash is. That I will admit. It could be anywhere. Some say it's not coming. Maybe that's true, but we already talked about that in circles. I can't tell my viewers, you better get in before the boat leaves, when this is telling me that we're in the deep end of the pool right now, and if you don't have a life jacket, You're not going to get through it. And I know I don't have a life jacket, so I'm not going to try and swim in the water if I can see it's too deep. That's a good analogy for me. Yeah, I just I can't get behind the bullish propaganda. I'm sorry. I hope you guys come back tomorrow. But I can't look at this and say, "Oh man, this is so bullish. I can't wait to get in." This is telling me if I get in the pool, something's going to suck me under and I'm going to drown. And the thing is, the YouTube community is what sucks people in. It's like, yo, you got to get in. How could you be bearish when the S&P is making a new all-time high? I already know there's probably propaganda going around. But you can see in 2014, we did make a new all-time high. In 2018, we did make a new all-time high. It's only in 2022 we were bearish. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, but the S&P topped right at this candle. I'm not saying we're topping, but the S&P didn't even top in 2014. It just kept going. But that's the problem with YouTube. It's like they create FOMO out of thin air. That's why I'm trying to look at everything. I see the bullish argument, but the S&P going up isn't one of them. Because in 2014, the S&P went up, and 2018, the S&P went up. If I were going to create a bullish, if I were legitimately going to put on my bull helmet, let me put on my bull helmet. If I were going to create the most unresistible bullish propaganda, what would I say to my chat? I have to think about it. Let me make something. I got to think about something. I'll think about it. Chris for 10. I appreciate that a lot, man. That is awesome. He says no words. I appreciate the 10. That helps out a lot, dude. He has no words. Yato says, I've never seen one video or live stream where you are positive. Positive? I feel like I've been pretty positive for the last week. You mean bullish? Bullish or positive? Why is being bearish negative? Again, here's the thing. I am simply portraying to you historical information, and that's getting people upset. And if that hurts your feelings, I'm not trying to, but that's just the reality. You know? Like the reality is, which that means you probably are new to the channel, so welcome. You could not find a bigger bull boy. You could not find a bigger moon boy than me throughout 2025. Sorry, into 2025. We were screaming this whole way up. Unfortunately, which the reality is for me too, we had all the top signals that said get out, but we all ignored them. We said, I don't want to get out. It's bullish. But it wasn't bullish anymore, even though we knew it was time to get out. There's nothing in here that says it's time to get in. That's why people that are saying, oh, the top signals didn't go off, they did go off for us. We just ignored them. But I'm pretty positive, I think. Just not bullish. Because here's the reality too, right? If the bottom falls out, then everyone who screamed that the bottom was in just disappears. They don't come back. I can't do that. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. I like being on YouTube. So, not to mention that I'm not really, like most of the YouTubers are wealthy, so if the bottom falls out, they just say, oh, well, it's because of Trump or whatever. I can't afford to lose any more money. So I'm not going to say, oh, well, the bottom's in, let me get in. And then the bottom falls out, then I'm done. Player eliminated. The whole point is to not get eliminated. Right now, in my opinion, we're deep in the bear market, so it's all about staying alive. Think about it. Just pretend we're all on a big battle bus. Boom, 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 boom. That's I'm sorry. I remember when that game first came out. We're all on a big battle bus right now, and there's 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 174 people in the battle bus right now, and if we go like this, there's gonna be 70 players remaining, and I want to be one of the people that are still alive because this here is where all the money is. And it's been that way. We just didn't accept it. The real money is made when we go to the all-time high. And unfortunately, based on historical, actually, that's not true. I was going to say it's not for another couple of years. That is something that I am looking forward to talking about. Because I actually think this is moving and it is going to be a lot closer than people are anticipating. So who is this guy that said I'm not positive? Yato? I hope you come back tomorrow, but I appreciate the 10 from Chris, man. But I actually think I'm going to start being positive or bullish once we finally go down. Because even if you were bullish here, you didn't really miss, like you got close enough to the bottom. But I think this is moving. I actually think this is going to be at the end of next year, which is a year from now. So if you really think about it, in 2 years, you should be where you need to be. Which it sounds really annoying to say that because we know we had it in 2023 and 2024, but you got to move on from that. You got to let it go. Because if you don't let it go, you're not going to get it next time. And I have to say, we are now closer to the end of the bear market than the beginning of the bear market. So if you spend the next 6 months looking back over your shoulder, what can I do to get this? I had it. You're going to miss the next chance to get it. And I actually think this, which is where I made all my money, even though I gave it back, this isn't that far away. So all I have to do is survive this, and then I get all the money back, and then some. Hell yeah, I'm on board. Because the reality is, which even the 4-year cyclers might not want to admit, if you didn't hold Bitcoin, you probably were already poor by the time the top was in. Most of us got rinsed on this and this. And the reality is, a lot of people got rinsed on this, even though the top was 7 months later. So just because the top for Bitcoin is in Q4 doesn't mean it's the best time to get out. I think the best time to get out is going to be somewhere around here, which is in 2 years. Not 4, or I guess it would be 3.5. And for some, it might even be earlier than that. How many coins topped in March of 2024? Think about all the AI coins that all topped out. Fetch topped out in March. Like, this thing was bullish for 1 year, right? And that's the beautiful thing. It's not as simple as people make it seem. It used to be, but it isn't anymore. This coin was bearish for 1 year, bullish for 1 year. And, well, I guess it's more than a year. It's like a year and a half. This coin has been bearish for 2 years. We're coming up on 3 years. Well, no, it's 2 years now. And if the bear market's not over, then maybe it's bearish again for another 600 days or whatever it is. And the perfect analogy would be Dogecoin. And I think MicroStrategy. I like MicroStrategy and Dogecoin are going to be our big indicators. Because Dogecoin and MSTR both topped out at the same time. And they both did that in 2021 as well. So even though the 4-year cycle said the top was at the end of the year, if you didn't get out for Doge or MSTR both times, I can't say you got hosed because in MSTR you did get a second chance, but the real top was significantly higher, at least in 2021. But the thing is, MSTR did make a lower low at the end of the year. So how do we know that MSTR doesn't break $100 at the end of the year? Because this bounce was 160%. Right now, the bounce is only 70%. It's just information. That's all it is. I'm just giving you information. If you don't agree with information, that's okay. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just giving you the information. Could we be in something like this? Sure. I'm not going to say that's impossible. This says the bottom is in September, October. But this is what I'm talking about. Look, the real money is from July of 2027 to February of 2028. It might even be January. That's not even 2 years from now. It's possible that 2 years from now, everyone is just hanging out with money. All right. And I know it sucks that we already did all of this, but at least we get a chance to do it again. Unless you get eliminated. If you get eliminated from the battle bus, boom, 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 then you won't be able to play. So that's where I'm at. You lost $4,500. You lost $4,500 again, or is that from 2024, 2025? Bull run equals breaking previous highs confidently. No, see, that's the confusion, man. That's what I realized. That's what we were all waiting for. The real bull run is when Bitcoin runs to the all-time high. Well, I'll talk about this more in detail as we get closer because I don't want to talk about it now. But the reality is when Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, that was the trap that we fell for. The bull run is shrinking. You barely had a freaking bull run once Bitcoin broke the high. It was almost non-existent. The real run, and you're about to see it, is when Bitcoin runs to the all-time high. Let me use Doge for an example. Now, 2017 is obviously a little bit skewed, but you're never going to see 2017 again. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, no, I think it's slower actually, isn't it? Boom, 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 boom. That's what it was back in the day. I don't know what it is now. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time to add Doge. If I can't get it, I'm not gonna bother. All right. So obviously 2017 is a little bit of a hopium skew, but do you see how the first big bull run for Doge actually came as Bitcoin was pushing up to the all-time high? The same thing happened in 2020. As Bitcoin pushed up to the all-time high and through it, that's where the big bull run was. This time around, again, once Bitcoin finally rallied to the high, that's where the Doge spike was. But if you waited for Bitcoin to break the all-time high, you already missed most of the run. So what we're going to do is we're not looking for the top for Bitcoin. We had the right idea in 2024. We just didn't listen to it. Now I know next time, listen to it. And for people that are going to say it's not going to work this time, it is, unless we go up now. If we go up right now, it's not going to work. But if we go down, then it is going to work because it's moving. And we see that it's moving. And if we can see that it's moving, then we'll be able to see where it could potentially land. Right? Now, I'm not sitting here telling you I'm going to be able to predict the bull run. I'm not. Telling you in advance, I'm not. But if we did it once, then we can do it again. And we'll know we can do it again if we go down again. That's all I'm saying. And if it's different this time and we really do go to the moon, then we'll find another game plan. That's all. Because let me tell you this. Let me talk to you. How do you know, for the bulls in the chat, because there's a decent amount of you. Big thanks to everyone. 170 viewers, pretty much all stream. I don't know where you guys came from, but today was a freaking great stream, man. There was a couple of days ago, I had 30 viewers. I was like, oh man, where'd all my viewers go? Shout out to the 30 viewers, though. But how do you know that we don't do something like this? Where we rally back to the high and then we get stuck? Genuine question for the bulls in the chat. How do you know this doesn't happen? It's something to entertain. So I'll know that if we do this, all right, I'll just buy in January and I'll catch the move. Why does it have to go like this in one shot? Because you want it to? It never, ever goes the way you want it to. What's up, Feln? Welcome to the closing stages. Appreciate you coming by. We got a lot Asian water buffaloes here. That's what I'm saying. If it's getting worse, how will the next one look? The bull run is getting worse. That's a fact. The returns from the lows to the peak are getting smaller, but we don't care because the money is made here. When did Dog with Hat come out? Dog with Hat came out here. When did Pepe go on its big run? Here. When did MSTR go on its big run? Here. We're looking for this. So if we're here, we need to wait 1 year for this. And I hate to break it to you, but a year is not that long. It used to be back in the day, but now it was just Christmas. Now it's about to be my birthday. Whoops. It's time is flying at an accelerating rate. So if you're telling me I gotta wait 1 year to get all the money, then I can wait 1 year. But if I buy in now, you have to wait 1 year to maybe get your money back from what you have today, not what you had up here. Because in 2022, if you bought in here, you had to wait almost 1.5 years to get your money back. If you bought in here, you had to wait 1 year to get your money back. A little less than 1 year. But here's the other sad thing. We don't know that it's going to look like this. I hope it does, but that doesn't do anything, hope. How do we know it doesn't look like this? Now you might be saying, why would it look like this? Well, the S&P 500 is making a new all-time high, just like it did in 2018. So why does it have to look like 2023? That's the annoying part. It's like there's no rule that says it has to look like this or it has to look like this. That's why I was kind of hoping we would have just went down. That's why part of me does hope that we do just go down. But if it does consolidate like this, then we have to potentially be open to a 2019 run. Which it's important to point out again that in both prior bull markets, the altcoins did nothing until the rally to the all-time high. But I don't necessarily think there's enough time for this just because of how small the move is to the high, you know? I'm down 50K on Trump coin. Yeah, I don't think Trump coin is probably going back, honestly. But there's a lot of new faces today. There's more new faces than in the freaking bull market. I have shorted Bitcoin from 78 too. Should I keep holding as a swing? If you're unsure, you probably shouldn't be in this situation, man. That's the reality. If you're looking at the edge of the cliff and you don't know if you should jump, then you should probably not jump. If you're looking at a trade and you don't know if you should be in it or not, you probably shouldn't be in it. Not financial advice. Basically, the goal in crypto is to get your money back. I think for most people, it is. I would like to make a lot of money next time, but if I only get my money back, then that's okay too, because it was enough. You know, I no longer have must get rich by X. You know, I've accepted I'm never going to be rich, but if I can just get comfortable, then I'll be all right. Because if you get comfortable, then you can take risks. The problem is we don't put floors in until it's too late. Some people don't put floors in. Some people just go back to zero. And I refuse. Because it's so difficult going from 0 to 10,000 and then from 10,000 to whatever. It's much harder to go from 0 to 10,000 than from 10,000 to 100,000. Now, some people might be saying, oh, you just go to work and you'll get 10,000. If you're at 0, the odds are high that your working is probably not going to get you to 10,000 because you need the money for bills. You don't accidentally go to 0. You did something wrong at some point. You know? So if you go all the way to 0, you're probably at 0 because money's tight. And that's why it's so difficult to go from 0 to 10,000. But if you can get to 10,000, then you can get to 30,000. Then if you get to 30, you get to 70. Then you're basically at 100. So I'd rather skip going to 0 and just start from wherever I'm going to start from here. So I'd rather watch the market go without me than to FOMO in. But with that said, I do appreciate the support today. I hope you guys come back tomorrow. Why were you guys not watching the stream over the last couple of days? Some of you did. But we hit 178 viewers today. 180. Just so you guys know, we had 140 the whole bull market, basically, after January of 2025. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but it is nice to see this many people. So, thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, okay? Hopefully you guys come back. I trying to give you bullish and bearish information. I know people call me Mr. Bear. That's okay. Sorry I work on weekdays. I guess that's true. But the thing is, most of my viewers don't live in the same country as me. Most of you drive on the left side of the road. So when I'm streaming, you shouldn't be working anyway. But that's all right. I appreciate everyone, all 168 of you for tuning in. I appreciate the support, the super chats, the members. I made a membership video for those of you that are members. I don't know if you saw it or not. I'm going to make a video every Sunday. So if you didn't see that, it's in the membership tab. And with that said, if you're bullish or bearish, please come back tomorrow, please. No, I'm just kidding. No, I hope you come back, but you don't have to. All right, we're going to try and keep it neutral, positive. That guy called me negative. I don't know why. That's not funny. We'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate all the support. Stay safe. Regardless if you're bullish or bearish, please manage. Because listen, you could be bearish and short and lose all your money. And then the price goes down. So please be safe. Do not let yourself go to 0. It's very difficult to come back from that. And there's always another trade out there. So enjoy your day. As always, none of this is financial advice. Stay safe. and I will see you soon.